right, Luis, what I'm going to do is this is the right, this is cylinder 1. I'm going to take out the exhaust and intake valves, and then I'm going to bring them over here and put them into this box. We have intake and exhaust for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the right and this is the left, so we're at cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, 5, and 6. And to take these guys out, what you do, this plunger goes on the valve. And this little gap here fits over this cap. And I've got this over the appropriate valve, and you can move this to adjust. But you want to leave a little bit of play here, because this spring is going to come out and it'll get stuck if you don't have enough play. So I have a little bit of play here. Anyway, and then push the button, and these two little divots, little keepers pop off. They just release the pressure. Off pops the cap. And if you look at this cap, it is cut. The top is sweeping and the bottom is cut. So that's how you know that's what goes against the spring. And when I took that off, I should have had my little magnet to catch the keepers, because a lot of times they'll go flying. When I reinstall it, and this is the valve, which I inspect. When you reinstall it, you get this going the right way here. And you have these keepers handy. Thing in, get it lined up. Oops. Should have safety glasses on for this. Anyway, let's try that again. Install this correctly. All right, so I'm going to hold it in place here so that, because it didn't hit this thing centered. Let me make sure I got that. There, that's good. Notice how when it's compressed, it exposes the place where you put the keepers on. And I've got a little bit of white grease on both of these keepers so that they stick. Sort of stick. Okay, the tricky part is now that that's in place, this tool has been bent by previous people so it doesn't sit properly, and this thing is too far to this side and it'll just pop those keepers off. So you have to kind of push it so that it centers before you hit the button. Like that. And then you got it. You're back on. So I'm going to take off all these, do all those, put it in the box. Thanks. Okay, so what I've done, got the valves, take the valves out, and I have them intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what we do is we use this thing here, and all we're doing is we're measuring at what point we start getting some tension as we go down. The first time that this dial moves at all, just starts wiggling. That's the measurement of how high your spring is when it's just free. And so I write that down like 49.5 millimeters. And then it says compress your spring. In our book, it says compress the spring down to 43.7 millimeters and read that poundage, and then 34.5 and read that, because that's with the valve installed and valve closed. and then it compresses to get open. So you're getting your how much pounds it is just sitting there and how much pounds it is compressed. So I'm going to take it on the dial, and I'm going to compress it down to 40, and this is we're really eyeballing this here. That's about 43.7, and I'm at like 74 pounds. So I'm going to write down under, this is number 4, 70, I wrote it 72 pounds. Well, okay. Anyway, and I'm just filling out, and this is cylinder head measurements. So we did the bore, we did the diameter of the cylinder, now we're doing the spring, and then I'll measure one more thing and I'll show you what that is. It's just a lot of ding, ding, ding measurements. So the next thing we do is we take a valve stem, right? We put the ring on it. Okay? No, first we push it through. So we push the valve through, right? And then once it's out the other end, we put this over it, and then we put the two little things on. See? We put the two little keepers on, and then we pull this into place with no spring. And the purpose of this, we pull it snug, is so we can take a little metal ruler and get in there and measure this from the place where the spring will go, which is not on this inner ridge here, but it's on this outer ridge. So from right there, and we measure to the underside of this, and what we're getting is, that's the installed height of the spring. And then we're writing this down, installed height before, and I have it in inches, which is 1 and 23/32, because this ruler's in 30 seconds, which is completely tedious. But nonetheless, that's what I'm doing. And we're not doing installed height after, because the installed height after, if you ground your valves down to, fix your engine, and then you'd have to see what it is after you ground it. And that would tell you you'd have to adjust, but since we're not grinding it, we're just doing the installed height before. And so I'm going to measure all that, ding, 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 and write that all in this really dirty page covered with oil and grit. I've got a little bit of grease so those things stick. Those don't stick without the grease, pain in the butt. So I'm going to measure those for the intake, measure those for the exhaust, leave that all in there, and next Monday we can take our picture, in theory, because I think I'll be done with most of the measurements. At this stage of the game anyway. We're gonna do some more, we pour water all over everything. Okay, anyway, there it is.